Yo, yo, what is up? OCD Mikey. OCD Mikey here on Christmas Eve for the Christmas Eve special. And let's see, I got to go down a little bit. Let me get this up. There we go. A little bit over. Rock on. See if I got my antlers up. Santa's reindeer. Welcome, everybody, to the OCD Mikey Hi-Fi Show. And it is Merry Christmas 2025, Christmas Eve 2025. We've made it through another year. I'll start by saying thank you, everybody, for all your support over the last year. You have really, all of y'all have given much support to the channel, much support to me in terms of your sales. I've been saving. And the company has been saving, and come in the new year, you will start to see the benefits of your support because the money will be reinvested into the company and bring us some of the things that I have been talking about for the tribe. So thank you all for your wonderful support. It was our best year so far. And I'm glad to know all of you and have had all of you in my life for this last year. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Merry Christmas. Eric likes the hat. Merry Christmas, Mikey and Tribe from Alan. Merry Christmas, Eve, Mikey from Dan. Merry Christmas, buddy. And we are, oh wait, I think I can do this. Let me see how this works. Let me see. Once the next comment comes in, we'll see. I think it might automatically go up now. Let's see. Regular, tall, wide. Okay. So let's see. Anyways, so I don't know if anybody was on yet. Today was really fun. I did a video, a live stream video today, earlier today. And it was like the old times, man. It was fun, man. All you got to do is just entitle. I'm going to do this. Again, is I'm going to use some of the most fun titles you can use. You can use China, Chi-Fi in the title, or cables, or things like that, and just stir the pot up, man. Oh boy, that was fun today. Anyways, I don't know if anybody, I know a couple, Eric was around, a couple of y'all were on the earlier live stream that was today, and that was I was talking about Chinese stuff. See if this will fit on top. Do the double stack. I don't think I can make it all work. But I was talking about Chinese stuff because somebody called me this morning and was like, dude, what's up with all these Chinese brands that are really cheap and I can get a tube amp for $300 or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's not the same quality as the other stuff. And it just, people get confused by it. They think it is. Anyways, that whole thing launched into oh, there they are. Okay, I see how it's done. Okay, cool. So we can go like this size. Let's see, wide, tall, regular, tall, medium, big. Okay, let's do wide. Okay, well, do you guys like that, to where you can see, and then I can just read them. I don't have to actually click. Well, actually, if I do this and then I just show them, then I can kind of control the things that I put up there. Yeah, so earlier it was great, man. I mean, people came unglued. It's so freaking funny. You know, this hobby is the only hobby where people get upset when other people buy expensive shit. And they can't keep their nose in their own business. They got to, pay attention to what other people are spending. I don't know, maybe they makes them feel less than or something like that. But normally in any other industry, cars, watches, whatever, people are stoked for you when you get something cool. They don't think you're an idiot. They don't try and tell you when you show somebody your Rolex, you're not gonna, or JLC in my case, whatever, you're not going to find somebody. I got to get a little closer here. You're not going to find somebody that hang on, let me give this a little bit more. You're not going to find somebody that that is going to look at you with your Rolex and go, oh, I can, a Timex tells the time just as good as the Rolex for a fraction of the price. And in fact, in our industry, it's probably the only industry where you'll have complete channels dedicated to try and sit and preach and tell you, you can tell the same time with the Timex than you can with the Rolex. You shouldn't buy the Rolex. People buying the Rolex are dum-dums, they should just buy Timex because it tells the same time. Nobody does that in any other industry except for this retarded, excuse my language, I guess that's not correct. This silly, fruity, I have to come up with new terms because evidently that R word sets the algorithm off. I mean it the same way any of us meant it that grew up in the 70s and 80s. We don't mean it as a diss to mentally disabled or handicapped people. But anyways, you know how that goes. And the same with the G word. You can't say G either, and we never meant it anything other than the way we used it. But now it's like a fully loaded term. So I'm going to use the word fruity if something is fruity. And I will use the word, what's the other word I can use for the R word to replace the R word? It's silly. I guess I could use silly or something like that. Anyways, so something is up. Something sounds weird on my volume. Do you guys, does it sound like it? Something sounds weird. We go to my settings and check this out. Audio default mic. Oh, no wonder. Is it? Let me see. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. So that should be right. Reduce mic background noise. Hello. Is that better? Stereo audio. Echo cancellation. I don't know if I really have echo cancellation in here. Stereo. Anyways, maybe I just have to go like this. But I don't remember turning it down before. Okay, there we go. I'll just put it like this. I think that's better. You might be able to hear better. Earlier it was great. People were really coming out of their chairs with how, damn it, this thing is weird. Coming out of their chairs with how with talking about Chinese audio gear. And there's different reasons people buy, and people in this people don't seem to understand it's okay to buy hi-fi because you like the way it looks. Not everybody has to buy hi-fi because it's the best sound. I like to sell the stuff that's the best sound, but it doesn't mean everybody has to buy that stuff. People just buy a lot of times stuff that looks good. That's all there is to it. And there's nothing wrong with it at all. Merry Christmas, Mikey and Tribe. We got this. Merry Christmas from Maximus. It's really weird. Again. Maybe I'm not. Hello, hello. Hello. I'm getting hello. Okay. Yeah, it feels like maybe I need to put my mic compressor on here. I've got a tube mic pre. I could put a tube mic pre. I'm using the little Focusrite deal. Now this sounds a little better. Okay, so anyways, Merry Christmas to one and all. Maximus Charles checking in from Florida. Welcome, man. Eric challenged. Can't remember what the challenge was. Merry Mikey Rudolph, Christmas all. Yes, buddy. I believe moron still flies. Okay, moron. There you go. Good, man. Moronic. Okay. Completely. But sometimes I use it for, well, maybe moronic would work. Completely ridic. Because I'm trying to say like it's something. Sometimes the R word means something good. Like it's so good, it's freaking like this tastes so good. It's try this stuff. It's whatever. So moron, try this stuff. It's moronic. It's unbelievable. It's I can ask AI. I'll ask AI. Hey Tribe, what's up? Mikey from Greenville, South Carolina. Charles Knight, what's up, man? You rocking your 570s tonight, buddy? There's Raphael. Raphael was with us earlier today. Was that not a shit show, Raphael? That was funny shit, dude. I was like, dude, I was like, Tao, 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 Tao. I mean, I was fending myself from the flack I was getting from that one. It was kind of fun. But you are live from Paris. Awesome, man. Beautiful. Dude, you get some good food there, and especially some good baguette, which we don't even get here worth a shit. I love Chinese, but I like Italian better. Yeah, for what? For food? Yeah, so that was so anyways. I'm putting together the Fisher and Fisher. I got the new Fisher and Fisher speakers came in, which I'm thinking, what do you guys think I should do? I'm keeping one pair for myself. So I've got 4 pairs of SN70 that are going to be available. And I'm thinking of doing a year-end special just on these 4 pairs, just to get some out for some people that have maybe been waiting for the Fishers, the SN70s. Now, what these are is they're 50-pound monitors that are all made of slate, and they're pretty good size, man. They're about like this by this, so they're where's my damn tape? Oh, I don't have one in here. I could make a good guess at the size of them, but they're this size. This would be the size of the face. It's about like this. Oh, you know what? When I pulled out that PC board, look at this. What I found in there. This is Mikey in Las Vegas, jumping off the stratosphere. So here I am, like whatever that is, 800 feet. We're looking down the strip right there. That's like 800, 900 feet, something like that. And you got a little springer on you, and some side guide wires, and you jump off that shit. I can't believe I did it. I don't even like heights. They make me totally they give me the agita, and make me spilkus over here. But and I jumped, man. I couldn't believe my buddy got me to jump. And you know why? Because we were at the bottom. I'm like, no way I'm doing that. I can't do it. No, I'm not going to do it. No, 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 no. And then a little girl got off the thing. And the dude, my buddy looked at me. He's like, what? You're going to say a little girl can jump off this shit and you're not man enough to do it? I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, I'm doing it. And we went up and we did it. I don't think I'd ever do it again, man. It was frightening. Very frightening. Got to hear the FNF 270 AMT tweeters. Quite impressive for the size. Yes. Very expansive soundstage. Yes. Fun to listen to. Absolutely. That's the name of the game. That's what Fisher and Fisher brings. And what Raphael's talking about is the speaker brand that I import into the United States that come from Germany. They're completely made out of stone. They're made from slate. And they are phenomenal speakers. I got some brand new 270s now that I have that came with the shipment. They're 270 AMTs. And the biggest thing that you'll realize about these speakers is that they output way more. I mean, you use a size smaller, like your typical size that you'd buy for your room. You think you need a 4-foot floor stand or something for your room. You're like, that's what it'll take to fill my room. With the Fisher and Fisher, it'll take a 3-foot floor stander. It will, they output a lot more than what they look like. And it's the same with the little baby monitors. You get these, they're not babies. I mean, they're 50 pounds, but they output a ton, man. They rock, for no pun intended. So yeah. So very good. So I'm thinking of taking them and making a special on the 4 pairs. Like, let me just take a poll. There's only 47 people watching right now, but is there anybody out of the 47 that are watching that are thinking about SN70s, the entry level monitors? Let me know, because if I get a decent response, I may go ahead and do something with them, just to give people a gift. Eric is interested. Yeah, so if I did something like I took off $500 they're gonna go up anyways in the new year. So this is like something that I would do before they go up. Instead of marking them up, I will mark them down. Instead of even keeping them at the same price, I'll mark them down at their current price and then include shipping. And the shipping on these things is like $120 because they're heavy, you know. So, like $4,500 including shipping, something like that, and that's basically 1,000 off from what they will be in the new year. So, Eric, holler if you'd like. I'm happy to take care of anybody that's listening to the live stream right now and wants to do it. Yes, I did win best sound in show with these monitors in Capital Audio Fest. You are correct. Very good memory. So that says it all. Yeah, they're award winning monitors. Best in show. That means out of they could have given it to anybody and they gave it to these speakers. So all you have to do is buy from me one time and then you will understand the stuff that I sell and how it's different from others. It's like you get the biggest bag. The bag is more than it weighs out. It doesn't just weigh out, it's over. I saw the bags that are over. My product is more than what you expect. I will guarantee you what you buy from me, not just is dead when it arrives, not just that you love it, but I'll guarantee you that it gives you more than you expect. How about that? I'll guarantee you these monitors will give you more than what you expect. They will outperform what you thought you were going to get for that dough. Merry Christmas. Not right now, but I would like the 70s for my desk eventually. They're kind of big. You'd have to have a really huge desk because I wouldn't even put them on my desk. And I knew somebody else that put them on his desk. They're too powerful. So if you have a really big desk and they're far away from you, but I've got a my desk is like a dining room table, basically size. And they're too big for sure for my desk. They're not near field monitors. They have something called the Klein, which you could use for your desk. But the Kleins are well, they're teeny, man. The Kleins are little guys. They're awesome, super cool. Um, but the 70s. You could put them. I guess you could put them. You couldn't put them. I wouldn't put them on your desk. You could put them on stands, like on the sides of your desk. But even then, man, they're just so powerful. They're kind of too much. I like the 270s better than the Manger C1 speakers. Okay, that's cool. And how much were those? Do you know the price cost on those? That'd be interesting to know. Merry Christmas, Mikey. Love and peace from Rebecca and I from Minneapolis. Cheers to you guys. Christ is born tomorrow, man. So joy to the world, joy to you guys. Say hello to Rebecca. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time we come to Minneapolis. We'll hang out. Next time, let's hang out for a little bit. Let's go. I'll try and give you some heads up and we can go hang out and go do something. We could go get something to eat or we could go cruise around the lake, go biking, whatever the hell, just do something, hang out. So really it's good to hear from you. Merry Christmas. It was also very impressed by the tiny Kleins. Yeah, the Kleins are wicked, man. They're so cool. Kleins for the desk. Exactly. Yep. The Kleins are what you put on the desk. Yep. Yes. So I've got a killer little system. I can't show it to you, but I'll make a video tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but no, not tomorrow. Day after tomorrow. Day after Christmas. I'll open up the SN70s. Oh my God, man. This thing's getting hot. I'm starting to sweat with that damn thing on, dude. Maybe I can I'll put this back. It's not going to fit with these. Oh, maybe like this. I'll put this on like that, and then we go like this. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and then I'll crank this off a little that way. If I look off to the side, you guys get it straight on. Let's see. So Manger Audio C1 costs $17,500 here, like $20K US dollars. Okay, so the Fisher & Fisher costs less and sounds better in your opinion. So that's cool. That's great to know. Manger is good stuff, man. You know how you always know Manger? Anybody that doesn't know, they've got a felt cover around, or felt ring around the tweeter, and then they have these. It's like a star. I almost want to say, is it like a? I don't think it's like a. It's like two points on each side. Anyways, you see a little star cut out in the felt that goes around the tweeter. That's how you can spot a Manger, or they say, what do they say, a manga? You know, if it's no, it's not German. It's German, so manga probably. Trying to remember the accents if I can get it proper. So yeah. Anyways, so I've got a killer little, my favorite way. I have the AGD monoblocks, the Audion, which are my favorite little monoblocks. In fact, Jolene, she's not there. She's in listening to the rig. I want to go get it for you. Because it's so cool. Hold on. Okay. So check this thing out. Look at this puppy, man. That thing is so cool. This is the AGD Audion. And super, one of my favorite amplifiers. This thing, I can hold it in my hand. Okay, it's 100 watts at 8 ohms. And is a, if you look at that tube, do you see how that is a Class D module? So that is a solid state amp inside that vacuum tube. See it? You see how that thing is badass, dude. And this thing kicks ass. And it's so cool. And it's so, like, this is a freaking Rolex right here. This is, high level audio build. And made in USA, and it sounds killer. And so I'm putting together a rig with two of those little guys, and then the preamp that goes in between that has the DAC and the streamer all inside. So it's an all-in-one front end with those two on the sides, with a pair of Fisher & Fisher slate speakers for 20 grand all in. And that's going to be the very first package system from the tribe. And 20G and everything included. It'll be shipped in a single crate that you will be able to, everything will be in there. You just open it up and set up your rig, and you've got a complete audio system. It's super cool, and it's tight, and it's a full Mikey rig. It's absolutely at my level of bitchy ass expertise, or what's the word? No, bitchy ass, like, picky, right? I'm picky about stuff. I have a high level standard, a high standard for the crap. My friends make fun of me. Oh, really? Just, my little brother was talking about the steak that I'm bringing, and he was talking to his girlfriend, and he's like, "Don't worry, just let Mikey bring the steaks, because it's going to have to be a certain cow grazed on a certain side of the mountain in a certain region, and that's pretty much like it is." What can I say? I'm a weird connoisseur of types. I'm into origin of things. I'm into origin and how things are made. I always have been since I was little. I used to get these books that were called Tell Me Why, and it told, and every book told you how things were made and how they were done and why this and why that. I was one of those why kids. Now in my life, it's weird. It's almost the opposite. I'm almost like, just I want the experience, and the why isn't as important as just uh mainly the why is in life. With things, it's a little different than life, um than having a philosophy on life. The philosophy in life, why is with things and stuff, and why is this and why is it like that? It almost doesn't matter. Why is the world like it is? Well, it almost doesn't matter why it's like it. Um, so let's see. Let me pick back up. Merry Christmas, and Mikey going the extra mile to talk to us, the tribe. You know what, Daniel? I love you guys, man. If I don't see my tribe, I miss you. And over this new year, in the new year, we are going to. You will see us forge forward with the tribe. Um, you've heard me talk about it, and I've been talking, but you've seen no action. A little action, right? We build the tribe. We have the videos and stuff like that. We've got um, about 6,000 tribe members. But we will start fueling that, and you're going to notice a change. Um, and um, I'm looking forward to it. So I love to talk to you all, and any of you all that want to be involved in more of a closer fashion to the in the inner circle, just get in contact with me, and because we will be reaching out and establishing our locations in every state of the United States. So go Roy. I talked to Roy, Mark. I'll bet the late great Roy Johnson of Green Mountain would have loved what Fisher and Fisher were able to create with their slate designs. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I got to meet Roy right before he died, man. And interesting guy, really nice guy, totally willing to talk with you. I sat and had several conversations with him on the phone. I ordered a pair of his speakers that he was going to make for me, but he died before they could be delivered. And so I never got a chance. He showed me the new designs that he was working on, which were super cool designs. And I'd have to dig and see in my emails. I wonder if I could find him right now and show you guys. Let's see, Roy Johnson. Go in here, search my mail. Roy Johnson. Green. Did he come through as that? Let's see, New Miro 3-way. Is that what he called it? Green Mountain Audio. There we go. Attached or some. Okay, here we go, man. Okay, yep. Okay, you guys have not seen this shit. Okay, let me show you this. Here's a little treat, and we'll do this in honor of Roy. Let me see if I can make this big. There we go. Whoops. Okay, let me see if I can. Okay, now go like this. Okay, let me go back to here, and let me share my screen. Okay, and let me go to here. Let me go here. Okay, here we go. So if you guys can see, that was the new speaker that he was working on right before he died, and it never got completed. And it's pretty cool. I was like, that is really organic looking. It's pretty wild stuff. Now, if I go like this, do you guys see that? Let me see. Let me go here. Yep, you do, right? Did you see that um as I just confirmed someone for me? Did you see when I switched that did you see when I switched that? Let me see. Let me go back to where am I? Okay. Can you see, like, if I go, I can take you through all of these. I'm assuming you can see because I'm sharing the screen with you. He shows the bottom. He showed me the bottom. They're very like Art Deco looking. That kind of looks. Here's what that's like. Pico mid-range response, no crossover. shown. There was that looks like a raw tweeter that he was going to use. 1800 fourth order. He's shown me. He sent me all the stuff, man. Here's the Miro. There was, looks like probably the first pair that he created, and he had refined it. Here's another one that he had done. It wasn't in full production yet, but it looks like he had created a couple protos. This stuff was probably all lost by the family. All those molds and all the stuff, which is what he's showing here, I think, are the molds. But this is how he, developed this whole thing. Images of the tweeter, midwoofer, the best drivers at any price, Miro specifications, first order acoustic. Yeah, so interesting. Introductory MSRP $11,000 a pair in black. So imagine something that elegant and that intense for 11 grand. You never find that for 11 grand anymore. Like this piece right here, like this red piece, you'd never find something like that for 11 grand. No way. No one's willing to do that. So pretty cool stuff. Absolutely interesting. Very, very interesting guy. And a really, let's see, a really good guy. He was definitely a good guy. Let me make this bigger. There we go. Okay. Well, let me see. Pull back. Okay, here we go. Nope, not that. Okay, let's see. What am I doing? Okay, I'm trying to get back to where I was before so I can see this. There we go. Okay. Okay. So God bless Roy for making some cool designs. Old Dominion Dave here, wishing you Merry Christmas, Black Sheep. What's up, Dave? Long time no talk to, brother. Long time no talk to. Dave's a truck driver, drives for OD, baby. The best freight in the business. Since you know your European hi-fi, Mikey, are you familiar with Angstrom Audio Lab Electronics? Oh man, that's from like Denmark, right? Or Scandinavia something. I remember the name, but I don't. It's not clear to me. It's beautiful boutique, hi-fi. I will check that out. Let me take a quick peek. See if it rings a bell. There it is. Oh yeah, somebody else showed me that stuff. Um, there is a few companies like that I've seen where they are like they look like old school Japanese, audio. It's very vintage looking. Um, I'll have to look into a little bit more. Some of them are real inexpensive and kind of cool, so it's sort of unique. Enjoying watching Jay in his room builds. Jay is taking us along for the build, an amazing investment. Yeah, for some folks, for sure. I went through that whole thing. Remember, I went through that like 10 years ago with my room build. I rewired, did all the walls, a separate meter on the outside. Well, actually, a second whole panel, complete grounding. I had special grounding rods made with that were pure 101. Pure 101 oxygen free copper, silver plated. I sent them to have them silver plated. My grounding rods have silver plating on them, and I've got 4 6-foot rods that are driven into the ground. 2 of them are for signal ground, 2 of them are for chassis ground. It was crazy, totally overrun. Nobody else's room has that. I don't know anybody that has silver plated ground rods, and anybody that uses solid oxygen free copper. But whatever, all that stuff is not as important as the gear. The gear is more important. Some people will try and tell you room is more important, but gear is more important to me. You can fix the room with some treatments, ASC tube traps and so forth. put them in a room. You just build up some walls. If you have an empty thing, like I think he started with an empty barn. So if you've got an empty barn and you're going to build it out, then yeah, go for it. Double up the walls, do all that stuff. But there's a fine line. I mean, how long you can take anything to the wall, as much as you want to spend. Um, but yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Wow, cool speakers. Yeah, those were cool speakers, weren't they? Yeah, see the speaker, it. Yes, we can see. Okay, cool. The hell is that top circle? It's a mid-range tweeter. I think the tweeter. I can't remember if it's MTM configuration. Let me see if I still have it up. Mirror. Yeah, the tweeter's in the middle. The mid-range is on top. And then there's a mid bass or two woofers below that. It's pretty cool. Definitely interesting looking. It looks very organic. It looks like it's a living thing, It's weird. Dano, what's up, man? Good to see you. Hey, Mikey. Hey, Tribe. Happy holidays. The live stream earlier today was totally hilarious. Wasn't it great, dude? I'm having fun, too. It was like old times, man. I was like, yeehaw, bucking the Bronco, man. I was defending off the things, and man, some dude was getting totally bent out of whack. It was just so funny. Our tribal leader pissing off Perlis and fanboys. Hilarious, even though he tried repeatedly to explain. I know, they just don't listen. It's like, and then you can just tell who's listening. I can tell by my responses who's watching. And at this point, after as long as I've been doing this, one comment I can nail exactly what I can tell people that don't have audio rigs. I can tell people that what end of the spectrum they're in, sort of. I can tell where they're at from their comments, and I used to not know. I can tell, I can tell trolls immediately, and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty funny. I mean, guys were coming unglued, absolutely unglued. And I wasn't even talking about Perlisten. Perlisten wasn't the point that I was trying to make, but it actually ended up being a good speaking point because Perlisten is a great example of a Chinese brand that is under scrutiny by Americans, right? So the only reason it's that quality is because Americans there, overseeing the whole factory and overseeing the manufacturing process, and they're under the cracking the whip, if you will. And again, you all know that I don't buy Chinese stuff. And I don't support China as a country. And it has nothing to do with the quality of the gear. That's not what I'm saying. Perlisten is fine quality. I think it's more cost than it should be based on where it's made. It should not be that expensive because it's the same price as Slate speakers made in Germany. So if you've got MDF speakers made in China, they should cost less, even if they sound the same. But it's in a typical new trend of Chinese stuff being priced at the same price as everything else. Now, the reason I don't like Chinese and I don't buy Chinese is because I'm a human rights person, okay? I don't believe in a regime that puts people in work camps because they won't follow the rules. They won't follow the narrative. They won't, they have to, if you are Buddhist or you're whatever, you're Uyghur, okay, which I believe are Muslims, if I'm not mistaken. All those people that have their own culture, that want to practice their own culture, China won't let them have their culture. They imprison them, which they call re-education camps, okay? So it's like almost like, the closest thing I can think of is it's like Nazi Germany. They're not burning up the bodies of the humans, but they are re-educating them, which includes torture and mind control and manipulation and all that kind of stuff. And any country that does that, I'm not going to support them. I just don't support those regimes. And as much as you say, well, it's just a little, hi-fi thing. Well, look, if there are certain things I can't make decisions on, like I can't control all the Chinese stuff, but I can control hi-fi because that's what I sell. I sell hi-fi. So in the early times, I made a pact. Look, when I first started selling hi-fi, like 15 years ago, I only sold American stuff. It had to be made in USA. Then I started selling European stuff, okay? And so now I sell European and American. However, I can make a choice not to sell that stuff, not to support that, not to be like, oh, I bought it from a Nazi country. It's like, back in World War II, would you have bought a German, you know, uh, well, I don't know, was Mercedes under Nazi, like, would you have supported Nazi Germany by buying products back that time when they were the enemy? Probably not. I mean, I know people now that have a hard time. I've got some Jewish customers that have a little dilemma buying. It's been so far now between that time and now, but it's still something on their mind. Do I support the country that massacred so many of my ancestors? So these are considerations. This is why I don't like China, because of what they do with their people, because of what happened. If you watch what happened during COVID, remember they welded doors closed and let people die in their buildings. The people, all the crazy shit that they did, this really fascist level, high level, what is it, totalitarian or whatever, and again, I'm not a freaking, uh, you know, guy that, politics major or whatever, so I don't know the actual proper terms for what it is, but I know it's control, and I know it's control through force, and that's not cool to do to humans, in my opinion. So that is why I don't support Chinese products. Has nothing to do with how they're made. However, if you're buying a $300 Chinese amp, the thing is made as cheap as it can possibly be made. There is no question about that. It's using the cheapest possible parts that you could make something. So I wouldn't want to buy stuff whether it was made in the United States. If United States made an amplifier for a tube amp for $300, I still wouldn't want to buy it, because it would mean it's made at the absolute cheapest possible way. They're probably for sale on Walmart.com. In fact, I knew somebody that did buy some tube amps, because Walmart.com, I think you can get some tube amps for like $600 or something like that on Walmart. It's just the cheapest bottom of the barrel products across the board. Whatever you're buying from Walmart is going to be the cheapest shit you can possibly buy. And if you're into buying the cheapest shit you can possibly buy, then that's great for you. There's nothing wrong. I'm not angry with you. You're not wrong. None of that. It's just not my game. It's just not my thing. I don't feel well about it. So when my customers ask me, what is this Chinese stuff? Really get an amp that sounds as good as a $3,000 amp for $300 from China? Maybe you can, but do you want to be the guy that has the $300 cheap Chinese thing? Is that how you buy everything in your life? And if that's how they buy everything in their life, then kudos, do it. But if you are a guy that buys things and you think about it and you plan and you buy well, and you like to buy things that are of a higher build quality, of like craftsman level rather than just widget level, then you don't buy that stuff, because that's widget level hi-fi. So it's weird. Everybody and people so panties in a bind about what other people buy, and trying to say, I just don't see anywhere where there's a channel dedicated to people telling others that Mazda RX, what are those, Miata, that a Mazda Miata is going to be just as good as a Porsche around town, because it will. If a Porsche, will accelerate faster and be cooler and be a more of a enjoyable ride, but a Mazda Miata, especially one that's decked for the track, is going to rip around turns just as fast as a Porsche can on surface streets. Okay, but is there channels sitting there trying to tell you, you should buy a Miata, it's just as fast as a Porsche on surface streets? Nobody cares. Nobody, because people buy Porsches for different reasons than just how fast can you go around a turn on the surface streets. But somehow in hi-fi, if you have a product for $600 that sounds as good as a $6,000 one or whatever, then the people that are buying the $6,000 ones are stupid to you. And then they make whole channels about how stupid the people are, and you really buy this $600 one, and it's like, you don't even get it, man. People don't buy it just because it can sound as good as the other shit. Like, and someone was saying earlier, you put on a blindfold and come into the room, you won't be able to tell my cheap Chinese thing from a AccuPhase, and I'm like, dude, but I wouldn't want the cheap thing, even if it sounds the same and it's a tenth, I'd rather spend 10 times more for AccuPhase or something else just because it's the way I buy. And it goes back to the same thing as the watch. You know, do you buy a Timex or do you want a LC or a Cartier or something like that? You want the Cartier. It doesn't tell time any better than the Timex. In fact, the Timex may tell better time, you know, maybe easier to read. It may have more features, you know, may have a better warranty. Who knows? But people still don't want that because they just don't want Timex on their wrist, you know? And in there's no other industry or no other hobby where people get bent out of whack about that. But in the hi-fi industry, for some reason, we do, and it's ridiculous. And people just need to just understand some people, and anybody can buy whatever they want. You don't need to save them from it, you know? What I do is educate you so you know what you're buying, so you can buy from making an educated decision. But your choice at the end of the day ultimately is your choice. It's none of my business. And I'm not upset with what choice you make. I'm happy that you're enjoying music. So yeah, so it was the live stream earlier today was hilarious. It was so fun, in fact, that I think I'm gonna do it again. I think why not? Some days and during the day, right now I'm catching my normal audience, right? But if I do surprise attacks or whatever, surprise live streams in the middle of the day, early in the day, I'm gonna catch people that are not my normal people, and that's where I can have some fun. I can really maybe it's not rooted in the greatest intent because I'm being Dennis the Menace, but it is fun nonetheless. And maybe you guys are entertained. Like I have people call me after that. They're like, dude, that was so funny. Like it's totally entertaining when you do that. And I'm like, I know it's kind of fun. It is great fun. Merry Christmas from Down Under. Mikey, have a good one. All right, couple of beers and shrimp on the Barbie, man. Welcome, cool guy from Down Under. I can't wait to go to Oz, man. I'm gonna come and visit, bro. I'm gonna see Deborah and Deborah Lee and Kenny Boy, and I can't wait to come down there, man. It'll be fun. Roy used a marble and epoxy blend cabinet. He passed away while making me a new AMT designed three-way. Yeah, I wonder if that is what he was making me at the same time. I can't remember what he was making me, but it was something. Um, it was something. It might have been his monitors. I think it was his monitors. Um, and yeah, you know, the marble and epoxy blend, I think is what killed him. He told me, he was telling me what was wrong, and he's like, you know, I have this lung thing. You know, his lungs were jacked up, and then they gave him medication at the hospital, and they gave him medication that jacked him up. Like they picked the wrong medicine, and the medicine made him like way worse than he was before he took the medicine. Um, and he told me that he used to mix that shit with no respirator on. He just would either put a rag or nothing and then drop that powder in there, and all that powder's coming up and you're inhaling it, and then you pour the shit in there and you stir it up, and he was breathing that shit the whole time. You know, it's just like Thomas. If you know Thomas from Fisher and Fisher, same thing, dude. He's got his lungs are fucked up. Like he's got a constant bronchitis because of being around. It's like black lung, bro. You get around that shit and you cut it, and unless you're wearing like a respirator, like something, not just some bullshit ass rag over your face, but like you got to wear a true respirator, you know? So, yeah, he was a good guy. $11,000 for those speaker was exciting. 30 to 40K. 11,000. Yeah, 11,000. Right. For the 270 AMT. And they are, and is that what you're talking about? The 270 AMT, and they are hanging with 30 or 40K speakers. That could be. Hey, Mikey, what do you think about Israel-based Morel? Morel seems cool. I mean, I've always known them. They had good soft dome tweeters, man, like Silk Dome stuff. Like I think those have always been real good for Morel. There are other drivers I don't know too much about, but I think it's a respected brand, man. Did I get a chance to listen to their speakers? I haven't yet, where I've sussed it out, but I know they were used in the Pure Audio project. He sourced some Morels. I can't remember if I have ever sourced any of for my projects. Any thoughts? My thoughts are that I think it's a promising brand.
I wouldn't have doubts about Morel. Like Morel is the brand in my mind, one of the brands in my mind that would be like proceed, like it's a green light, right? It's not a red light, or it's not even a yellow caution. Check it out first. Like Morel is legit, so I would totally trust Morel, and I would use them in designs and testing and stuff like that. Alan, not until more of us understand what really goes on in that country, we are adding to the problem. That's right. And audio is a very small percentage of the problems. That's true, but it is a percentage. And, it's like, you know, and, some people say, some people are the kind of mentality where they're like, it's such a big problem, I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to join everybody else in that problem, and I'm just going to be part of the problem. Okay. I'm the kind of guy that says, for me in my life, I can make one decision that is minuscule. I mean, I'm not hurting any part of their market by not carrying their shit at all. I'm insignificant, but in my mind, making a stand for it feels good in my self. I know I'm making a stand against human oppression. So even though it's a minuscule problem, I'm taking action. Okay. And there are people that take action, no matter how insignificant or small, they're action takers. That would be me. And then there's people that don't take action and just talk about it and say, "Oh, it's too big to do anything about," and they don't take any action. I know that my action won't do anything, but it's a form of principle. It's a part of my character to make a stand and to take action. So I know it's just a little bit of action, but it is action, and I am taking it. And there's not you got other people, other YouTubers all cheering about the shit that they can get from the Nazis, for cheap. And I call them that because it's the closest thing we have to that right now in the world would be the frickin' re-education camps in China. So if you can sit there, good conscience, make a video about how great a topping is, or about how cheap this thing is, or how great you got this jungs in it so cheap and all that stuff, and you're supporting this kind of regime against humans, I look at you different, okay, than the people like myself that make little stands, even though they're insignificant, and say, I will not support human oppression. Even if my little action is just a little bit, I will not support that. I respect that. I don't respect the other. So, and again, now we're just getting into my personal politics, and how I see things. And that's just my thing, right? My perception. So everybody has the right to have their own thing. But when people want to know why about the China thing with me, that's why. Merry Christmas, all. Merry Christmas from Seattle coming in. Charles, compared the gauge on the wires between the terminals on the Fisher and Fisher to wires on top of the line focal makers, let alone the cheap Chinese stuff. My mama taught me not to buy communist Chinese stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's speaking about my mama, it's like, um, that just brought me to something funny that happened today. Today I was driving by this little spot where I know there's homeless guys that chill, and I keep cash in my car for tips, right? And so I'm about ready to pass this dude sitting there, and I'm like, let me give this guy. It's fucking Christmas, let me give this guy some money. So I reach and I got $2 bills because I give out $2 bills for tips. So I grab him like five $2 bills, and I stick my arm out the window, and he's like looking at me like he doesn't understand. And I was gonna say Merry Christmas, my brother. And I go, Merry Christmas, my mother. That's what came out. Like, what an idiot. I don't know. I was thinking of Mary, mother, whatever, Mary. I don't know how it came out that way. Merry Christmas, my mother. And then I said, my brother. He didn't even pick up. He didn't even care. You should have seen this dude's eyes lit up like candles. Like I've never seen such. His eyes were unfucking believable. He smiled and he was so happy. That thing, and I'm only saying this to tell you about the my mother part because that was funny and silly. But in the other thing is that if you do that, I noticed this one time. This goes back to one time in LA. I was standing in LA. I was ready to go in an establishment, and a black dude walked up to me on the street. And this dude had no shirt on, and he was ripped. Like, you know, those dudes, you see them on the street, they're freaking yoked. Like the dude's been in prison doing push ups and pull ups all the whole time, right? Scary, kind of like, oh shit, that dude's gnarly. And he walks up to me and he asked, "Can I get some change?" You know? And I'm like, "No, man, I didn't have anything. You know, I don't have any. I just got plastic. You know, I don't have anything to give you." And I didn't even want to look at him because I'm in LA and I don't live there. And the dude's yoked and he's on the street, and I'm like, oh, you know, like fucking look out for this dude. Like he's, you know, this dude could easily, you know, man, you know, do something crazy. He's totally strong. And he goes, "Hey man, look me in the eye." He goes, "Look me in the eye." And I went, "Oh shit," you know. So I looked up and I looked him in the eye, and he was like, "Talk to me, just talk to me, man." And then I talked to him and I said, "Oh yeah, all right, man." You know, and I looked him in the eye and I talked to him. Like, I'm not suggesting you go look at dudes that have their shirt off in the street in LA and look him in the eye. It's probably not a good idea. But what he made me realize is that he just wanted to be recognized. He just wanted to not be sloughed off as a non equal level human. He wanted me to look at him and talk to him as an equal, which I did. And he was cool. He was just like, that's all he wanted. I realized at that point, it you know, one of those little light bulb moments go off. And it was like, you know, these homeless people many times just want to know that they're not forgotten, that we see them, that they're not just invisible to us. So when I see homeless people, I will look at them. I will say hello. You know, a lot of times when I was in New York, people on the street, you know, guys begging down there, I'm going to say, "Hey, what's up?" and look at them, just because, to give them acknowledgement. In many ways, they just want acknowledgement. And again, not suggesting you talk to street people. You could get yourself in trouble. You know, I don't know how the rules roll, but it was amazing. I gave this guy "Merry Christmas, my mother." And he just smiled. He just blew it out like, whatever. I don't even think he caught it. And then I said, "I met my brother," you know, and he came over, what? Like, Merry Christmas, man. And he just smiled and he lit up. And man, it was a beautiful thing, you know. That's how I am with people, you know. So when there's countries that take people and try and tell them, "You can't think that way, you need to think this other way, you can't talk that way, you need to talk this other way, and if you don't, we're going to imprison you and torture you and work you to the bone until you succumb to our control," that is like the root of all evil of humanity. So, you know, if you want to support that, then go ahead and buy Perlison and support it, you know, and just blow it off, you know. But I can't do that. It's just, I can't do that. Happy 2026 on the way. Let's review. 2025 was epic. MPD 8 plus 470M. Thanks, Mikey. If none of you have jumped in yet to Mikey's zone, go and do it. And someday we'll do a story on Rev when I get out to Seattle. This is a guy who was the most devout vinyl file, one of the most devout vinyl files of any of my clients and friends. And there was no way he was changing. Like, he was ready to try an MPD8 based on what I had said in my videos. He's like, "I'm willing to try it, but there's no way I'm giving up my vinyl. Like, I'll add this DAC, but I'm not getting rid of my vinyl." And lo and behold, he's selling all his vinyl now. So anybody who's watching that wants vinyl, get in contact with me, because Rev had the best pressings, and he takes very good care of all his stuff. So it's but anyway, so that's a great story. It's a great story to take somebody that's into vinyl and then and really into it, and then they try an MPD8 and they're like, "Dude, the MPD8 is as good in every way," you know, pretty much. It's computer guys and Xbox players. I've lost that. I don't know what to do. What? Bonsai, happy quick stick Mazda Miata owner. Her name is Mashiko. Yeah. Do you what happy quick stick? Oh, Mazda Miata. Do you have one right now? Do you have a Mazda Miata? They haul ass. I know there's a whole racing class that has Mazda Miatas, so you can rip them around. You know what? The other car that I heard is super fun to drive are the minis. The what are they? Austin? Do they even call them Austin anymore? Mini Cooper. Mini Coopers are supposed to be really fun to drive, and they're totally cheap. But you can rip around the surface streets on those things and have a ball. I talked to guys that have the expensive uh, uh, Ferraris, you know, and ZR1. And they're like, dude, I can't use my car anywhere near what it does on the street. And even on the track, I can take them on the track and then I can do the 150 miles an hour and all that shit. But that's the only place. And I can't do it on the street. And if I do it on the street, I'll end up killing somebody or myself or going to prison because at the speeds these cars will reach, you know, it's a felony. You know, it's like involuntary manslaughter. Even if you haven't hit anybody, just going that fast is like, you know, involuntary manslaughter charge or whatever. Merry Christmas, Mikey. Merry Christmas, Steve Ness, our favorite Lotus guy in the world. And look, Steve Ness. Where is Steve Ness? Oh, where do I have? Do I have it over here? I had it right there. Steve, I was going to pull out my Vietnamese dong. I know that sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? Um, I got. Steve is the one that told me about the currency thing, and I bought Vietnamese dong, and I bought what was the other thing? Rupiah, Indonesian rupiah, just to see. Let's see what happens. I don't know how to play that game. Only the big dogs do. Pacificatila. I've bought something that can take on the playback design. It's an esoteric NOX1 DAC, which absolutely do not sound like the old esoteric lean and analytic. Well, that's great because the old esoteric was horrible. I couldn't stand it. It was just like nasty. So, where do you live? And let's do a head to head. Where do you live? And is that just are you a woman or a man or I can't tell. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I see a woman's picture. It would be cool and interesting to know if it's a woman because there's so few women in what we do. Mikey, I have a question for you. It's about cables and how long you should keep them in your hi-fi. I never change my cables. Should I change them? I was told they deteriorate over time. Well, what they do is they oxidize over time. So, yeah, I mean, if I am a cable guy, right? I make cables. We have cables. We're going full speed with Rev in the next year with the cable designs, and you'll be able to buy them from me, and you'll be able to buy them at wholesale because instead of me going to dealers and letting the dealers double the price, I'll sell them to you at the same price that I used to sell to dealers for, which is effectively half price, right? Wholesale. And yeah, the old cables get oxidized. And if you have copper, it was silver, it's no big deal because it's not silver oxide, silver sulfide. Silver sulfide is damn it, diode. It does not have a diode effect, right? Copper oxide has a diode effect. It does not conduct. Okay, and so if you have copper cables that are old, absolutely you should change them. Absolutely, you're going to get a whole new sound, a whole new lease on life. What it's sounding like now is dull compared to what it can sound like. So yes, holler, contact me and I can set you up with some speaker cables. Is that what you're talking about? Just holler. Don't support China. Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but just understand, you know, it's a mental, it's a mentality. It's the mentality of a person that says, I'm insignificant and I can't change anything. Therefore, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to continue to be part of the problem. And then there's somebody that says, even though my shit's insignificant, I will make my little teeny minuscule stand against the tyranny, even if it's a very teeny one. And I'm one of those guys. I make my little teeny stand against the tyrannical powers that still exist in the world right now. You know. 4 a.m. here. We'll catch up with the live stream tomorrow. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thanks, Raphael. Thanks for joining. I'll see you. Mikey, what is your take on Aries Cerat? Hard to get a grip on it. I wouldn't mind. I've had somebody tried to trade me what was that thing called? It was the DAC, the Cassandra, or I think it's called Cassandra or something like that. A DAC. You know, they wanted an MPD8. They tried to trade me in their Aries Cerat. I wouldn't take it. So, you know, I can give you my judgment on it, you know, from my lack of ever having it in my rig. So I'm just talking about from the experience I've had seeing it at shows and seeing and listening to it at shows. That's my only experience with Aries Cerat. So I know it's expensive stuff, right? So when I go up, the first thing I do is when I walk into a room is I listen. Is it, you know, what does it sound like? Is it impressive or is it not impressive? Is this something that I am going to never forget? Or is this something that I'm going to forget 2 doors down the hallway? So Aries Cerat has never given me anything sonically that I can't forget. They have given me things visually that I can't forget. They definitely do that because they make some whacked out looking speakers, and they and their gear is very large. So they have made me remember something by being grotesque. Okay? So in other words, they didn't make me remember their design because I looked and said how beautiful that is, and then I remembered it, like a Rembrandt or like a, you know, a Rodin sculpture or something like that. It's like I went in and went, you know, oh my God, how grotesque. Look at how grotesque these speakers are. Look at this oversized giant ram's head that's laser cut out of a sheet metal. You know, look at this just stuff. Like, what is this huge ass giant stuff? It's grotesque. So that's what made, so it did its job of making an impression me visually, but it made it not in a proper way. It's like looking at the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You're never going to forget the first time you see the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but it's because it's grotesque. It's not because it's beautiful. It's not the same as seeing, you know, a princess, some beautiful Greek princess that you're like, oh my God, that's the most beautiful thing. It's like you saw the Hunchback, right? And so that's why you remember it, because it's grotesque. So that's the first thing that happened from Aries Cerat. The sound was just like, okay, it sounds like anything else. It doesn't sound special. It sounds like any other hi-fi. Does it sound good? Sure. You know, those big speakers, those big square cube things that are on, that never even sounded good to me, you know? And then I go up. The next step I do is I go up and I look at the gear up close. Let me see this stuff that they're charging, whatever, 60 grand per box for. Let me go see the respect that this company has for its buyer. Let me see if they give me anything that visually, from a manufacturing standpoint, looks like it would be worth 60 grand, and see how much they're trying to fool me, or see what kind of fools they think their buyers are. Okay. Now, something like this is an example of something that is, there's very much respect for the buyer with this product. Look at this, polished aluminum. It's not chrome. This is polished aluminum, beautifully done. WB next gen binding posts. They don't even cheap. They don't put Chinese binding posts. These are high-end German binding posts. I can see the Neutrik connectors, the way this is put together, the switches, the screws. They're not little flathead screws. They're not freaking they're hex head screws, which is a choice when you spec these. So they use he's done the highest level, and this thing comes in a flight case and it comes in a velvet bag and all that stuff, right? Okay, so that shows me respect for the buyer. Okay, there's no trying to get one over on the buyer. Now, when I came to Aries Cerat and look close at Aries Cerat, what I see is layered sheet metal, okay? So now what you do, instead of machining something, like a great example would be a Jeff Rowland. Look at the faceplate of a Jeff Rowland. It's beautiful machined aluminum, okay? And there's heat sinks that are machined into that. Now, that is also a piece that when you buy it and you get it, you know, this manufacturer respects me. They're trying to give me my money's worth. They're making an attempt. Now, if I don't want to spend as much money as Jeff Rowland, let's say I am trying to make a product into the hi-fi world and I'm trying to do it on a shoestring, or I'm just a cheap person and I don't really care about making chassis in their highest end. What I will do is I can take pieces of sheet metal, pretend these are sheet metals. I can take this and I can make a black piece of sheet metal on the bottom. I can laser cut this and I can cut geometry out of it. Let's say I could make a mandala, you know, a tree of life, you know, or something like that, or some hexagonal thing, whatever, yada, yada. And I can lay this on top of it, okay? And this can be silver paint. This can be black paint, okay? And then you're going to see the geometry in relief, and it's going to look deep, okay? And when you have like a piece of machined aluminum that's this thick, it's 2 inches thick, and you machine it down and up, you get relief that way. Well, the cheap way to make relief is to layer shit up like this. You just layer sheet metal, which is very inexpensive. You layer it, layer it, layer it, and you can add different colors on each one, and you can cut out the inserts, and you can see, and then you put screws in things and hold it together, and it gives a pretty cool look for an inexpensive way. Okay, so this is how you make cheap manufacturing look like expensive manufacturing, is you layer the shit up and you laser cut it or water jet cut the shit out to make relief. And then you can do corny shit like put your logo in it and put your name on it and all that, you know, silly stuff, which I can't stand, but Aries Cerat likes to do that. So I come up to the gear and I look at it, and it's layered sheet metal like I just told you about. It's laser cut or water jet cut layered sheet metal stacked up on top of each other. It's not expensive chassis work, okay? It's nothing like a Dan Agostino chassis, okay? Not even close to a Jeff Rowland chassis, okay? Those are true exotic chassis, okay? So when I'm paying, even Playback Designs has a curve and fluted aluminum with a unique color, you know, and it's you just, when people stack up flat sheet metal, they're being cheap. So what I see when I go up to it and I look at it, I go, okay, they're using cheap manufacturing technique to make it look like it's an expensive chassis. And I can see right through the chicks. It's stacked sheet metal that's laser, that's water jet cut. And it's got a logo in it, big freaking deal. Like I want, do I want a ram's head in my damn, you know, listening room? I don't care about what you think is cool. It's like, you know, there was another company that made this cat thing in the front. Like, I don't give a shit if you like cats, dude. Like, I don't. So I don't want that. I'm not buying your gear simply because it's got a fucking cat on the front, you know? So people in their egoic state, wanting to make their creation all their thing and personalize it, many times will build stuff that turn people off by the sheer just thing. And they say, I don't care. You don't like my cat, don't buy it. Okay, whatever. It's your little indulgent way of making an audio piece, your expression of art to the world, or whatever. If you're going to express art, express it beautifully. Here's a great, beautiful way to express work in the form of audio design. This is gorgeous, beautiful artwork, okay, to me. Aries Cerat is not, okay? Then the next step is, and that, again, my opinion, okay, maybe some people like stacked sheets of aluminum. I look inside, okay, and I look inside. What do I see inside? Okay, I see an overbuilt design that is absolutely legacy style. Okay, what I mean by legacy style is it's not new technology. This is old technology. So what I'm looking inside an Aries Cerat, I see old technology. Now, that doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it is that it doesn't sound good. What it means to me is they're not reinventing the wheel. They're not doing anything breakthrough. They're just doing old type circuit design in a stacked sheet metal box. There's nothing that I see here that hasn't already been done before, okay? What are they doing that's different? Well, their trick up their sleeve with the DAC is stacking DACs on top of each other. So in other words, if you want to get the best signal to noise ratio with old R2R chip DACs, you start stacking up. Instead of having 1 per channel, you use 12 per channel, okay? And every new one you add on, you get lower signal to noise. It is not, it is like elementary. It's like, okay, so I'm going to make something stronger. So how do I make it stronger? Well, I just add more to it to make it, how can I use this example? How do I make a cable better? Well, instead of having one big fat conductor, I turn it into 15 smaller conductors. Okay. That's not fucking genius. Okay. It's elementary. Okay. So the design that I see in the DAC is elementary to me. It's not genius design. It's like, oh, all they did was stack up R2R old chips. That's cool. It's old school. It's kind of neat, but it's nothing new. It's nothing advanced. This is old ass technology. They're doing a very elementary type way to make it low noise is they're stacking their DACs and they're doubling them, quadrupling them, octupling them, in their thing. And they're charging 60, 80 grand, whatever, stupid stuff. Okay. And then I find out who's importing it. Okay. Who's importing it and who's, talking about this shit. And then I find out who's importing it. And I don't know if this guy is importing it anymore, but the guy at the time who was importing it is total guy who doesn't know high-end audio. He's a guy that came from the wine industry, cars and wine, and then found easy marks in audio. And when I realized they've got that guy handling it, but actually, now that I think about it, he bought the distribution. He didn't earn it. So, but if they're going to put it in his hands, then the company has really poor judgment of who they have representing their brand. So now we've got a brand that doesn't sound that great. The only thing that makes it different than anything else is its grotesque look. It's using same old design that's nothing new, that's just elementary stacking DACs and old big ass transformers and stuff. Cool, but nothing new. Okay, and they've got somebody totally questionable that is importing that shit into the United States. So it's like none of those click the box for me. I'm not stoked about any of it. I don't like the look. I think it's grotesque, and it's not even high-end grotesque. Like something like a Boulder is semi-grotesque, but at least that thing is machined out of a solid block of aluminum. Like, that shit was like expensive. Like that started out as a 400-pound block of aluminum, and they took a CNC machine and just went in with robotic arms and milled everything out. That's wicked. Okay. So at least I can see. And a Wilson, I look at a Wilson, I'm like, okay, I may not like the sound, but Jesus, look at the build on this thing. Look at the level of extreme that they went to. You can see it. But when you look at an Aries Cerat, I just don't see any of that stuff. I don't see any of those levels of stuff. So in the end, what I classify it as in my mind is it's a fluffed piece. It is something that doesn't necessarily have the fundamental strengths that I look for in a piece of gear, but it has all the hype and it has the price, but it doesn't have the fundamental strengths that I look for in something that is an exotic. So I do not consider Aries Cerat an exotic. Now, I can't comment on the sound, again, because I've never had one in my audio rig, but that is my judgment of Aries Cerat and how I got there and in my mind process. So I know that was a lot, brother, but that's how I look at gear, okay? I did the same thing with this. I opened it up, I looked inside, I look at how everything's put together. I actually gave him suggestions. When this first came out, it was thinner and it was taller. And I said, dude, the scale isn't right for the tube on top. Make it a little bit wider and a little bit flatter, a little bit wider and lower, and it will scale better with that tube. He did it, and it was great. These things on top, I make suggestions to Alberto, and Alberto changed, because he trusted that I have my finger. I do have my finger on the pulse of what people want, and I also have a good eye for scale and for design. I'm very much an art guy. So anyways, so that's an example of something that clicked all the bills. And this piece here is $8,800. So yeah, with the polish, it's $7,800 with the matte finish. These are about to change this year too. The prices are going to go up on AGD. So if you want AGD, you need to get with me now before the price comes. Where am I? Merry Christmas, Mikey and Tribe. What's up, Andrew? Motorcycle Racer, good to see you. Not just speaker cables. All cables like RCA cables are connected to your power amp, preamp, so on. How many years should you keep them before you change them? I would change them if they're over 10 years for sure. Absolutely change them. Abso-freaking-lutely. I would say over 10 years. You probably got a good 10 years out of any cable. That's what I would put it at. But I mean, and depending on what cables there are, you might be able to improve them. just by getting a better cable, you know? So I'm happy to consult. Andy, what's up, buddy? How are you, man? The horseman, the horse trainer. Mike, Merry Christmas Eve. Mikey and Tribe just got done watching Home Alone with the kids again, and now Christmas vacation is on. Yeehaw, man. Right on. I want something that lasts a lifetime, says Brent from Seattle. Passion for build quality materials gives me pride of ownership. Absolutely. These people who built these products are artists, engineers, and good people. Absolutely. I support the people who put heart and soul into their products. Corporate entities never make good stuff. They're motivated by profit, nothing else. Absolutely. This is what I've been preaching in my videos for many years. You know, it's just there's different goals. You know, you want to know what the company with these all the companies that I carry, I can talk to the founder. Like, okay, I consult with the founder on product development for this, you know, brand. Same with with Playback Designs. You know, and they listen. I mean, they better listen to their dealers, and especially the ones that are their top dealers. You know, or at least ones that have that understand the market and have their hands in the market and understand it well, that owned an amp manufacturer, you know, like I did. So, anyways, yeah. So, again, man, it's a new year. We're coming into the new year. We'll do a New Year special. I will have some things going on before the end of the year. I have a handful again. Fisher and Fishers are going to also get a price hike in the new year. So if you want your Fisher and Fishers, do that now. Okay. Don't wait, because they're not going to come down in price ever. Okay. And these products, just like in the world, everything, it nudges up every year. It goes up, it goes up. And with the tariffs and all this shit, I will help fight that for you guys. Like, I'm not going to look, my price on Fisher and Fisher, and this is anything that has gone that comes from over in Europe. But Fisher and Fisher has had to do a couple little price bumps, and then plus so I'm paying 35% more than I did when I started with Fisher and Fisher. I will in the new year with this new thing. So what a typical dealer is going to do is he's going to take, because his cost is 35% more, he's going to mark the product up 70%. Okay, that's typically how you do it. My cost went up 35%. I have to double my cost, right? So it goes up 70 points on the other end. That's heavy duty, man. That's heavy duty. $10,000 speakers become $17,000 speakers. You know, it is severe. It's heavy. I'm not going to do that to you guys. I will take less. I will not in the new year doubling my cost on certain things, because I'm trying to keep it reasonable for you guys. So thanks again for joining. It's been an hour and 22 minutes. I'm going to run. Let's see. I have an older, let me try and get to these last ones. I have an older Roland 8 Ti amp and Coherence 2 preamp, and the build quality is just crazy. Those things will last forever. Crazy good. I don't ever need anything better than them. They will last forever from the looks of them. Absolutely, brother. Yep. You buy right once, and you never have to buy again if you don't want to. You know, have I heard anything more about Playback bringing out a new amp? It won't be. I'm going to try and get a prototype for Xpona. I'm trying as hard as I can to release the prototype at Xpona if I can get one. So we will see, but it's in the final stages. You know, it's just that shit never takes long. It took 2 years from the inception. So even if I'm talking about something else, like, oh, I think maybe we'll try and make a whatever with anybody, you know, it's 2 years until that shit's done from the time we think about it. And the time we say go, it takes 2 years. So, anyways, thanks everybody for joining. I hope everybody has a Merry, Merry Christmas. Don't overdo it. Don't drink too much. Leave the blow alone. It's got freaking fentanyl in it these days. And have a Merry Christmas. Eat some cookies, because we're all going on a diet in the new year, brother. I don't know if I told you guys earlier today from my trip that I ate all the Italian food on and just ate like, oh, I ate so good. I paid for it, man. 12 fucking pounds I put on. I'm 12 pounds. I'm almost as fat as I was before when I had my gallbladder thing. And I feel like shit, dude. I wake up every morning tired now. I used to wake up feeling ready to go, you know. Now I wake up with aches and tired because and I can feel it. Don't get fat, man. It fucks your body up. Do not get fat, okay? So in the new year, whoever wants to join with me can join with me. Um, I am I'm at 192 right now, which is fucking it's embarrassing, and I'm not tall enough to be 192. My goal is 162. Jesus, can I make that? I'd be skinny, bro. I don't even know that I'd have any muscle. Is that a proper? Maybe 165 for my height, 5'7". What is it? 165. So whatever. Tyrosine. I was gonna take the tyrosine at night, brother, with my glycine. I take glycine and berberine at night. And then I take MSM in the morning, vitamin C and MSM. And then during the day I have a shake. I've got my thing, but we can talk about tyrosine if you want. But anyways, starting in the new year, if anybody wants to do a thing with me, we can have a little group, and we can hold each other accountable, man, and we can have a little thing, and we can have a little chart with our names. Let's do it. And we hold each other accountable. If you try and do it on your own, it's harder because you don't, you'll disappoint yourself way before you'll disappoint somebody else most of the time, right? So we can do it in the new year. Anybody that wants to join, just let me know. All right, well, I'm going to take off. Everybody have a Merry Christmas, and I will see you next Wednesday. I might pop in here and there. See you guys later. Cheers. Love you. Bye.